Hey, I'm Colleen Taylor, Backstage at TechCrunch Disrupt, San Francisco 2012, with the co-founders of Obvious, Biz Stone and Evan Williams. Thanks for joining us backstage.
There is one more co-founder of Obvious.
Just the three co-founders of Obvious.
Right.
Do you want to give a shout out?
Well, Jason Goldman, our man in New York City.
Shout out, Jason Goldman.
Keep it real, Jason. Yeah, so you just came off stage talking to Hunter Walk all about Obvious and what you guys are doing there. How do you think it went?
I have no idea.
It went by really fast, 20 minutes. I felt like we were up there for 20 seconds.
That's a good sign, because sometimes I'm sure you've been on stage during a conversation that felt like it was dragging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff we could have talked about.
In fact, this one...
God, it feels like it's been half an hour already.
I know. Well, I want to ask you about Obvious. The first thing I want to ask about is the staffing. When you're hiring people, is there something different that you look for when you're looking for people to join Obvious than maybe in your previous ventures in Twitter or other companies?
Not really. I mean, one of the things that we look for that's different from other companies that Jason Goldman has said before is we hire for funny. We like people who have have a good sense of humor and like to laugh.
I think we don't look for different things because of what we're doing, and most of the people who work at Obvious are engineers and designers. And so hopefully we've learned more about hiring great engineers and designers, and we look for people besides funny that are passionate but calm, and confident but humble. Those are some of the things that I always like to try and judge. And so far I can't say enough about the team. Every founder raves about their team, but I'm super happy with the team we built.
Yeah, we feel like we really lucked out with this team.
I know a couple of the people at Obvious, and they are great people. But one thing I've heard about what it's like to work there is that you in particular, and I think you as well, you guys send these really long, sort of
boring
essays.
documents.
No, he said they're fascinating and they're so cool, because it's really just sort of like what you're thinking about today. And it's not, you need to do this, this, and this, but it's just more of this general state of mind.
Like what's on our minds.
Can you tell me more about that?
Over-communication. You can't over-communicate. It's just really important to share what's on your mind with everybody and to share them where you're at.
I think a lesson for founders, it depends on the personality, but I try to make a point to do that because I've failed at that a long time. People tell me I'm hard to read, but also I just assume people are thinking the same thing I am. It's like, we're working on a project together. You know where we're going, right? Because we mentioned it one time, like 3 months ago, that we were going to do that thing. We're going to still do that thing, and that doesn't work. And especially doesn't work as your company gets bigger because people have their own perceptions. They see different things than you see, and so you have to make it a conversation. B, you have to just do it even when you think people already know, or even when you think this isn't important to share. It's tremendously valuable. So, and I also. The other reason I do is because I figure things out by writing them.
So do I.
We both do that, and it may be why we've built systems on which people write stuff, because we find value in that. We want to build the products for ourselves.
It's not just about product stuff either. A lot of it's about we think about ideally a company should be a vehicle for transformation for its employees. People should be able to get better at things by working at a company, whatever it is they want to do. Like if they want to work with the world's best JavaScript engineer and sort of apprentice with that person, or they want to become a better manager, or whatever it is. We think that a company and a company culture should be something that's something of a vehicle and help them move forward in their life and their career. So sometimes we write stuff like that, and we also don't think anything should be sort of etched in stone. So a lot of times we're revisiting something we wrote 3 months ago and saying, okay, now we're writing the same thing, but some things have changed, so it's different now.
Is there a place that you typically do that? Is it kind of like your morning pages, artist way kind of thing, first thing in the morning, mind dump? Mark Zuckerberg yesterday said that he wrote his entire S1, essay about the hacker way, all on his phone. He said
Really?
he did it, which crazy, right? But
Yeah, that seems
is there
difficult.
where do you write?
I wherever. I usually, if I really have to go deep into a think piece, it's on my laptop, not at my desk, and I will do the cliche thing of going to a coffee shop and writing, and sometimes, hopefully, with no Wi-Fi at that coffee shop.
Yeah.
Or airplanes, whatever. For me, it's sporadic. Biz writes more regularly, I think.
Yeah, I prefer to write, I guess, on a laptop and just text edit. Ideally, like same thing as Ev, sort of.
I write in Medium, Instagram.
There we go.
Yeah, I have to train myself to. I don't know why text edit. It's actually not great. But anyways, same thing as Ev. It's important to sort of disconnect and go. I have a little home office that I like to go up into and just get a rough draft done. That's the most important thing.
And now at Obvious, you have CEOs of the projects that are coming out from within it. Is there, a piece of advice, like one thing that if each of these CEOs that you try to impose onto them or tell them?
Sorry.
Go
ahead. Well, there's lots of pieces of advice, I would say. And there's two pieces of advice. One is be really passionate and emotionally invested in your project or it won't work. Don't just do it because you think that other people will like it. You have to love it and want to use it yourself. The other thing I think is be really open and communicative with your co-founders about what exactly it is you want out of work and out of your life. Because otherwise you'll make assumptions about each other and you'll be missing each other, and that'll lead to a discordance. So it's difficult to be super duper open about everything you want out of your personal life and your work life, but it's at the same time it is one of the most important things you can possibly do for the long-term health of the company.
Between co-founders, I think that is especially important. And the other thing I would add is almost every entrepreneur or founder I meet is focus. Focus, 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 which applies to almost every aspect. Your product's trying to do too many things at the beginning. You're focused on too many partners, too many business opportunities. Be super picky and focus your time, focus what you're doing at any given moment, because you're not going to do it all, and only a few things really, really move the needle. And the way you achieve breakthroughs is by just doing something really hard, which requires focus.
Ev has always said you can only do one thing. You can only really do one thing great. He's also been working for 10 years to try to get me to focus more.
And that kind of...
It's working. It's taking a decade.
Biz continues to prove me wrong by going from thing to thing and saying like, how about this awesome idea? I'm like, all right.
But I'm getting there. It may take another decade, but I'll be focused eventually.
Well, then here's the last question, and maybe it'll be...
And then you'll be all crazy.
Then right, maybe it'll go, and you still have a lot of time left. So, but I want to ask, is there anything outside of tech that either of you, has as your retirement plan, maybe after the next 10 years or 20 years or 30 years? I mean, have you ever thought of starting a pizza shop or a...
Well, for me, it's all, I started out as an artist, and I feel like I sort of accidentally became a technologist and an entrepreneur. So recently I've kind of, I don't know if this is just crazy talk, but maybe I'm an artist who expresses myself by helping hundreds of millions of other people express themselves. I don't know, but I'm doing a couple of interesting projects that flex those muscles again. So maybe for me, but the thing is, tech is everywhere now. I mean, you can't mention anything, any field, pretty much, without there being some sort of technology part of it.
Yeah, at first I was going to say that I'm very interested in the environment. We talked about Beyond Meat on stage.
Yep.
My big issue there is just sustainability, and I've thought about doing things in that realm. I haven't, and we both have foundations. Biz has for longer, but those type of causes are my main interest. I wouldn't say they're outside of tech though, because I think the solutions need to come from technology is about our only hope. I occasionally go to DC and talk to people there, and I have no understanding or how that works.
But it makes sense that even if we do have a dream scenario, sort of after tech, as you say, it makes sense that we would leverage what we know and the networks we've created to solve those types of problems. I guess the bigger answer to your question is, yes, we do, and it's in the realm of helping the world become a better place.
Yeah, and it seems like you're finding that you could, it's not necessarily going to be an end to what you're doing
Right.
now and a beginning
Yeah,
to
we're
the
trying
next
to
thing.
find
Through business,
things
yeah.
that do all the above.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do.
Cool. Well, Evan and Biz, thank you for coming backstage and joining us at Disrupt. Always
Thanks,
great
Colleen.
to see you.
Thanks for having us.